Hi everyone. Welcome to Wednesday night with Faith. So I haven't gotten on here in a while. There's a couple things I need to talk about. That being said, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about was fear. And actually kind of thought about this before. I didn't just go into it. But Jesus says a lot in the Bible, do not fear, fear not, do not be dismayed, all that. And he was really serious. So I want to delve into that today. So I feel like sometimes I'm fearful, and I will challenge that thought and be like, am I actually fearful? Or is that thought just a passing thought? Is it just something, that I'm not really thinking about, but I think I'm thinking about it because it's a thought. So we all have thoughts. We all have sporadic thoughts. We all have just impulsive thoughts, just all kinds of thoughts, spontaneous thoughts. I'm very spontaneous, but anyway. So when we have a thought, it is either from God, it is then either from Satan, or it's from ourselves. But you gotta, when you feel fearful, the first thing I would say to do if you feel fearful, whether you're actually fearful or not, gosh, I can't talk, is challenge that thought. Try to really think about, am I actually fearful? Because sometimes you aren't. Like sometimes it's just the thoughts of it, and you feel like those thoughts are your thoughts. So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm fearful, when you're not. So another thing is, God said in the Bible that he did not make us with a spirit of fear. What that means to me is we have a choice. We don't have to stay fearful. It's actually probably harder to be fearful because we're made fearless. So we're made in the fearfulness of loving God. Like we fear the Lord, but that's a different kind of fear. But I think we just need to sit back and realize that we need to not be fearful because our Lord's got this. And one other thing I really wanted to share with you guys is trusting in God. You can never trust God too much. Don't ever, ever, ever think that you are trusting God too much. There is like Jesus take the wheel and everything. And one thing that really helped me tremendously is this one quote, and it's from St. Claude de la Colombière, and he says, learn this lesson well once for all, that God alone is the master of our hearts, which is true. He's the master of our hearts. He alone can give solid peace, so ask him for peace. And our whole confidence must rest in him only. So that being said, everything, our whole confidence, everything that we believe about God and hope in God and trust in God should be in God. Everything. So living in that way, you see that you have let go of so much of your mental anxiety, at least for me, because you're living in a different atmosphere. It's awesome when you leave everything to God. And I think it's a good turn in my life because lately I've been feeling very, very stressed, and just to let go of absolutely everything and just put it in God's hands and let him act is just the most perfect thing that could have happened to me. So I'm thankful to God. And then I just wondered how your Lent is going. A lot of people that I've talked to said it's a very hard Lent for them, and prayers to them. I feel like it is very hard, but prayer can always make that better. Prayer makes everything better. Even if you're sad, even if you're mad, prayer is God. God is there. Absolutely. So, and another thing I've really found out recently is that the love of God is the love of people. So I'll explain what I mean, obviously. God is love, okay? And the more you love people, you're loving that image of God, because we're made in the image and likeness of God. So, you're loving God through other people. And I have noticed that, okay, so I have been suicidal before. It's been years. but I actually overdosed 5 separate times and never died, obviously. But I have a heart for people that get really depressed. And I would say if you are ever depressed and please trust in God. That's the first thing you need to do. And then basically, like, I forget where I was going with this. I was going to say, I think that God brought me out of suicidal thoughts or something. I don't know, I'm losing my mind. But it's a struggle. Life is a struggle. I'm not going to sit here and say life is very perfect and brilliant and bright and beautiful. It is. We have to realize 2 things. One is the life of man upon earth is a warfare. Okay? So we're in a warfare, but you can always hold your cross high, if that makes sense. Like, you can take all your burdens and crosses and you can put them on your shoulders, kind of like carrying a backpack. Like, you can just carry it. You can either be slumped over carrying it or you can carry it upright. So, but I'm praying for you all, and I hope you all do have a great night. God bless. Bye.